we are going to design a kind of this news website that is elegant, clean, and very professional looking kind of. So this is the website I have hosted on the GitHub, and it's live version. Now here is the one that I'm working on currently. There are slight differences, like I made some tweaks. So you can see it's kind of very simple, but this kind of layout is kind of hard to achieve. Means you have to know how things work. So I'll be exploring the things with you, and I'll be like really be able to teach you like this is how these kind of layouts are made. I mean, this is simple, this looks elegant. If you present this kind of design, this is surely going to make some impression. And yes, I have kept it very simple. I'm not adding the footer because that's common thing. I have done that a lot of times, and you can watch those tutorials. But all I have to show you is like this kind of clean and complex layout. So let's start making. I'm using the images from Unsplash and the fonts from Google Fonts, these icons from the font Awesome. So let's start making. I have to open the code editor, and on the desktop I already have like the folder ready, and here are the images. So I will delete. Should I delete, or I should make a copy? That's good thing. Command D or Control D, and now we can. I will just rename this news 2, no problem. Now inside this I will delete the HTML file, and inside CSS I will delete that also. And I have added the fonts. Here they are font awesome fonts. Okay, so let's begin, I mean, without wasting any time. So guys, you have to understand, you have to make sense. If you are not understanding, then you will keep on watching tutorials forever and nothing will happen. So you have to make sense, try to understand what I'm doing. I'm trying to create a layout, and I'm going to use things given by the HTML. But how I'm using, because I have been doing this so many times, I mean, this has become my second nature, and I know like how this thing should work. If I'm stuck somewhere, then I okay, then I can try this thing, I can try this. I mean, you have to keep on trying, and that will only happen when you start making. Okay, so there is no magic, it's all just you have to work. So let's call this news. I mean, in front of you I'll be creating this. Maybe you can follow me along. I'll be adding all the website and all these resources in the upload, so do not worry. This is inside CSS folder. Then I mean, I am linking the CSS file that I have kept inside that folder. So we have to link font awesome as well. See, it is inside CSS. And if it is not helping you, then come here and open the folder that you are working on. I will go here. Now this will be able to display all those things inside my website. So here is the HTML, and where is the CSS? CSS is here. So it should, both should open, right? Yes, now they are open. And I think this HTML has reloaded. Okay, now inside the CSS, what we have fonts fonts. It is showing me itself. Now I need to use all.min.css because that is compressed, so that loads fast. That's the only logic. Now I'll be able to add images and all those things easily. So first of all, I'm creating the header, and I'm going to give it a class of header only because that makes sense. Inside the header we have three things. If I come back to the website, I have kept my dock at the right side because at the bottom it like obstructs the view. So 1 2 3. Okay, so the first thing I have to create is left part. So that is inside the header, three things are going to happen. Let's call this left menu, no problem. And inside this, first of all, I have that bar, kind of three bars. So what is that? That's an image, and it is inside img folders. Then I have to look for, I think this is the image, and always give the alt, that is menu icon. I could write that, and underneath this I need that image one more time because I'll be putting that search. Yes, but this search image is kind of search icon, it's quite big, so I'll be giving it some width. Let's not do it now. If I show you the website now, the things will look pretty wild. I'll come back to desktop, and on my desktop, here is the website that we are working on. You see that icon is looking really huge, and why that bar? Look at that bar, that is so small, but that is the exact size we are looking for. So we need to give it some width. How much? Maybe 20 pixels. Let's see if that makes sense or not. I think it is 24 could be better. Yeah, it's better now. Now we need two more things. And what are they are links. So we are going to give them a class of n links. Guys, try to make sense, try to understand what I'm doing. I'm creating a header at the top, and I am using the elements given because we have a layout that we want to achieve, and we are using the tools given by the HTML. So I know where. So href means it goes where, google.com, facebook.com, or any other website. Putting a hash mark takes it nowhere. So that is the thing. So inside this, first of all, I think the what we have, popular and latest, popular, popular, and I will duplicate this link. I mean, I do not have to write this again by pressing shift alt or shift option down arrow. Popular, and I forgot what is that. That is the latest, latest, latest. Now this section is done. We need to create the middle section. Let's call that, I mean, that is just the text. So we could put h1 and give it an idea of logo that is created. We need to write news. I'll be giving the font as well, do not worry. Now the third thing that we need is right, right. Have I written it like left menu and right menu? I could put this, I mean, that makes sense in programming. Okay, now inside this I need how many things? Two things. First, an a tag. I'll be using the same thing because once I style this a links, it will be applied everywhere, like removing the underlines, changing the color, all those. I mean, even, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, now it should go nowhere, and the text of this link should be sign in. I think that is the text. Yes, and now underneath this we have a button, and should we give it a class? Yes, maybe sub means subscribe. What we have inside this button, we have subscribe, just subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. So header is done. We need to style it now. Underneath this there will be main, and I will not touch that now, but first of all let's start styling. First thing first, you have to like do this, put star, because we want to remove all the padding and margin given by the browser by default, because if we do not remove that, that will give us problems. Now that is done. Now we need to style the body. Body is like the canvas where website happens. So width, it has to be 100%. Height, it should be automatic because it should decide its own thing. Now what we need to style the header, header. What should the header have? Width, how much? We do not want to make it 100%, maybe 94%. That is VW, view width. And a height, maybe I could keep it auto because there will not be too much text, so it will not be too big. Or I could maybe make it 100 pixels or 120 pixels. Doesn't make any yeah, that makes some difference. But if I give fixed width, then will be fixed width. Let's leave with it. Okay, margin. Why? Because we want to put things in the center. At the top and bottom, I want to give a margin of 1%, and on the left and right, automatic. Automatic means put it in the center. That is the only explanation that it gets. So now I know things are not looking well, so we have to style things. What is the name of this thing? This is left menu. If I start styling this, left menu, display flex. Flex is your friend, and trust me, you have to use it so many times that it will solve all the problems. Now align items, because we want to put them in the center, because they, you see, it has flown away. Why? Because we have given it whole width of the header. We need to give it some width, maybe 20 bw or 20% of the whole thing. That is still, I think, a large, but it is okay. Now we need to style those links. They have a class of n links, and what does they need? We do not want to have that underline, so that is text decoration, and if I make it none, that will be gone. You want to change the color of the font, color should be black. You could write just the black, there is no problem. And now we will need to change the font as well. That font is not looking, and do we want to make them capitalized, that is text transform, and if I put uppercase, that will be taken care of. But I definitely don't like that font. I'm going to change that font. I will go to Google Fonts. I already have selected these fonts. I mean, always use 2 to 3 fonts, not more than that. So if you want to use a font, just click on this plus icon and as many fonts, and then they come here. Import them to your CSS file. If you go standard way, then you have to put this link underneath your CSS link. Let me show you instead of confusing you. In your HTML file underneath CSS or anywhere around here, you write like this. Now this font is imported, but I will rather go to CSS file and do this. So go to import and do not copy those style lines, just these lines. Copy, and at the top of your CSS file, at the top of everything, just put this line. Now the font is imported. What fonts do we want to use? First of all, I want to use this Italiana font for the logo. So where is logo? Logo should be under header, and it has an ID of logo, L-O-G-O, logo, and it needs this font family. Italiana is a serif font, serif. Always write this serif, because if this font is not loaded or the internet is not working, then the alternative will load. You see that happen. But the font size is very small, so I can increase that font size maybe 3 MZ. You could write 24 pixels, 30 pixels, as you like. Maybe it is still small. I could make it 4 or 6 maybe. It's kind of okay. Now where is everything happening here? Inside the header. So make it display flex, display flex, and justify content, because things are like not, you see everything is now thrown away, but they are not in the center. So what we have to do, we have to write align item in the center. Now you see everything will be aligned kind of this on the horizontal line. Okay, now what we need, the right thing in the sign. But first of all, I have to give this font family to the to this A links. So Chivo is okay. Roboto condensed. I think to the whole P thing in the whole body. I'll go to body and I will do this thing. Body P, whatever is inside, what is our P paragraph inside body should have a font family of this, and it is a sans serif. Sans serif. Let's see if that worked or not. They are links, they are not A, so maybe I can put A here. Will that make sense? No, that is maybe comma A. Yes, that kind of worked, and yeah, the font is okay. Do we want to decrease the font? So we have to do it at the respective places on, I mean, inside this, yeah, P should be same, no problem. So font size, how about like this, 0.9 M. That makes sense. So now, but I think this font, yeah, I may take care of it later on. Now we go to this this side, right menu, dot RIGST right menu. I think the M is capital here. Now what we need to give them spacing, and they are already displayed well. We need to give this button, what button's name is sub. Oh, that is not working. Sub needs a margin to the left. How much? Maybe 30 pixels, because that will throw the other thing, not itself. 30 is less, maybe I will make it 40 pixels. Yeah, it's looking okay. Now we need to style the button. It should have a width of around how much, maybe 100 pixels, and a height of around 28 pixels or 30 pixels should be okay. Padding of around 4 pixels. Should it have a border? Border should be none. And how about background? First of all, we have background of kind of red, and not this bright red but kind of subtle red. And the color inside this button should be white. What else we will need? Border radius, we do not want to make it too sharp. How about 4 pixels? That may be too much. Kind of okay. Maybe I increase its height to 30 pixels. That should make sense. Yeah, it's okay. And when I hover on this button, its color should change. So how we do that? So it's serve, then hover hover. It will suggest you what I'm writing. Or it is its background color should be kind of blue, but not this blue. Maybe this or some other. If I hover on this, the color is changed. You see the header is done. Now what we need, there is a border at the bottom. It should be 1 pixel, solid line, and a kind of subtle color. And also this border will be touching it, the whole thing now, that we do not want. It is not touching exactly, but yes, it is kind of. So we need padding at the bottom, not margin. Margin will throw the whole thing, but padding will create the space inside it. Okay, so how much padding we need? At padding at the bottom, how much? Maybe 2% makes sense, or 4% could be right. That is making sense. Now we need to create that thing over here. These 1 2 3 sections, and they have a lot of things going inside them. So let's create them. Now we need to create those menus again. They are happening inside the main. Remember, header is done. Inside main, we need to create 3 sections. So let's create a section, maybe. Yeah, secti in section, secti in section, top part. Now inside this, I will create 3 sections. I'm keeping this as the top part, and this is at the second part or maybe bottom part. Inside the top part, I need 3 places. So I will create divs. I will call this left area. I mean, I have not used this class, so I'm going to use this. Inside the left area, what do I have? I will take care of that. Left area will have, let's call that box, that image and text and all those things. Let's give it a class of box. Now inside the box, what I have, first of all, I have an image, and let's use the image source. So what image should I use? Maybe 4. Okay. And image, underneath the image I have some text, so let's maybe use s3. And do we want to give it any class? Yeah, let's leave with it. And this is news title. And what else is there? There is author name, so I could use p tag, or I could use h5 maybe. I think, how about h4? No, I will use p tag and author, author. So let's give that imaginary name. Now this thing is done. This, I mean, if I duplicate this, I have to duplicate this only. Now this is happening, this box is happening inside left area. Now we need to create middle area. And what is inside middle area? There is one image, text, then a lot of text. So first of all, in the middle area, I will have just one image only, or one section only. So I'm not going to create another div inside. I'm simply going to take the image, img image, and inside images I have this, I think I did wrong, img / this thing should be news1.png, I think. And just give it a class of image. Underneath this, I have a kind of tagline, and that can be h2. And let's if I do not give it a class, I have to use like whatever is an h2 inside middle area. I can use that, or maybe I could, let's not give it a class, that will be confusing. Okay, so inside this h2 I have to write climate change is real and it's dangerous. I mean, it's a kind of warning. And then there is one more text. I could write maybe h3 or h4. Yeah, no problem. Inside this h4, this is the news title, or this could be the author name, John. That's okay. Now underneath this I need some text, and that is a p tag. I could give it a class, no problem. And I have to now write lorem ipsum. So how much, I'll put 60 and press tab or enter, and it will write it automatically for me. I do not have to copy it from anywhere because I have installed those extensions in my code editor. I think this part is done. Middle is also done. Now we need to create the right section. We are still under this section. This section is called, what is the name of this section? This section, have I where? Yeah, it is top part, and inside top part we have 3: left area, middle area. Now we need to create a right area. I am creating those divs. Okay, right area. Inside the right area we have 3 things going on, so we have to create like right box. I mean, we have to give it some name, so this makes sense. Now inside this right box I have a thing going on, and I will use smart thing. First of all, I will create a div, and that is for or details or details, because we want to align them. If I do not use this, then it will give me problem. So I'm okay. Now inside this we need an h3 maybe. And what is this h3? This is the news title. Could just title title, and underneath this I have the author name, and I think that should be p should work, John Doe. And now outside this I will put the image. Now because I can use the flexbox on this and they will be displayed nicely, that's the only reason I'm doing this. So I'm going to use img. What image should I use? Maybe news 4, and yeah, just name it anything. Now the name of this thing is right box. Okay, and they are inside right area. I can duplicate it like 1 2 3 4 5. This thing is done, that thing is done. If I come back to the browser, they will not be looking nice. Everything will be cluttered. So we have to take care of this thing now. And I think this thing, what I did just right now, the image is large, so I will give it a width of around 200 pixels or 180 pixels. Let's see if that changed the image or not. Yes, that has changed. So I will write this thing because I do not want to make that image too large. I have not created a small image for this purpose, but we can use the hacks available with us. We do not have to like do everything manually. You can use the program to do things for you. So yes, I will style this. I will give them space, give them all those borders and everything. Do not worry. So first of all, I have to style this left section. But first thing first, we have to style the main right menu. What this is doing over here? If I am not giving it any style, I should remove it because it has got no style and it will have problems. First of all, main should have a width. How much? We are going to give the same width as the header, that is 94%. Our view width, and height should be automatic. We do not have to worry about it. And then margin, very important. We want to put a margin of 2% at the top, or maybe 1% at the top and bottom. And automatic means left and right, it should be thrown to the center. Now things are kind of making little sense. Let's start styling them. But first of all, what's the name of this section? This header is done. close the header. Now inside the main we have this top part. This top part I'm going to use CSS grid. Top, is it P small or big? Yes, it is big. Top, PART, top part. Is it like this? There should be no. Okay, now inside this top part what we need: display grid and grid template areas that I will use. I will use CSS Flexbox also. Do not worry. I mean, if this thing doesn't work, then that works. If that doesn't work, other thing works. That kind of thing. So we create things as we want. So first of all, what we want, kind of left, and I think there is no like. Is it like this? Yes. Then MIDDLE middle, right. Is it so? Now if I go to these things, let me show you what is the name of this thing. First thing is left area, middle area, and right area. Left area. Now if I, it's not like this, it's like left area. If I give it grid area, where is this grid area of left, and maybe I could give it some width as well. Width of around 20 BW means view width. Do not worry, I will take care of this. And then MIDD middle area, grid area. I mean, grid area is very powerful. Okay, you do not have to do so much work. It's just kind of magic. Okay, this right ARE. This may not work, but I will figure it out. Grid area. That's how programs work. Something doesn't work, then you, okay, if this doesn't work, then I can put this. Let's come back. You do not have to worry. We have to be bold. Okay, and it's kind of making sense, but things are not aligned very well. So top part, why don't we use display flags and justify content space between, not kind of making sense. Now we have to give this column gap, COLUM, column gap, to space them out, maybe 4%. It's kind of working. Now these things, they need to be styled. Okay, I'm going to do that. First of all, I will style this right side because that's kind of taking the attention away. So what does it need? The right box need to be displayed as RIGST, right box. Let me see if I'm copying the right division. What I have to do, inside this right box, I have two things: a div and an image. This should be displayed as a flex, so they are aligned nicely. I think this is named as a right box. If I do this display flex, let's see if there is change. Yes. Now, but why they are still touching each other? We have to give them some space. How about justify content space evenly? No, space between. I think I have to try BET between, and yes, I'll give them spacing as well. So inside this right box, whatever is an image, that should have a margin works, or padding, margin should have a margin to the left side of around 2%. Let's see if that makes sense or not. Kind of not. How about 4%? Did it work? Or I could like give this same, have I given it any width? Grid area, if I give it a width of around 20 pw, will that make some difference? I think this is a right box. They should have a margin at the bottom because they are touching each other. Margin at the bottom of around 6%. Still very less. How about 14%. Kind of not okay yet. Okay, now the we need to change the font inside the main. This font is looking very ugly. Okay, so I will copy this roboto condensed, no problem. And inside the main, where is this main? We want to use this font, and roboto is a sans serif font. If I come back now, the font should be changed because the default font is too ugly. Now, yes, those images need some space. I mean, the text is touching it like badly. We do not want that. Now, this middle section, middle area should have a width. It should have a width of around 40 bw, 40%. Let's see that makes sense or not. That's kind of rushing to. So column gap, no, I will not give it width right now. Give it a width of 400 pixels. Let's see if that makes sense or not. It's rushing to that side. Let's not do it now, but rather concentrate on this. So the inside this middle area, where is this text coming from? Right area, middle area. This middle area is here, and inside this p text, it should have a width dot mi middle area. The p inside this should have a width. I mean, this should not go beyond some point. How about 300 pixels? That's making some sense, but we do not want that. Maybe 400 pixels or maybe 500 pixels. And then inside the whole middle area, we want to align text align to the center, and it is not totally centered. Let's do one more thing to this align text. No, text align as justify. Is it still making sense? No. What we will do, display flex direction column. No, not reverse. I'm using excessive things here, but this is still not going where I want this to be. How about align items to the center? It is making some sense now. Yes, I mean, something was not working, so something has to work. So now inside middle area, we need to give them some spacing. So mi double middle area, whatever is an image, that should have a margin at the bottom of around 4%. You saw that. And now that text, that is p, instead of giving all of them, I can use this margin at the top. It should have around 4 pixels or 6 pixels, percent, and it has got that. Now middle is done. Now we need to style those left and right areas. This area, I think the font is large. I will reduce this font size. So inside this right area, I have p h3. I mean, let me see, it is h3. I will make it h4, or I could reduce the font of this. Why? I mean, why should I worry? So inside right box, where is the right box? Dot right box, guys. You have to use hacks. Okay, whatever is an h3 should have a font size of 0.8 ems. You could easily write 16 pixels, 12 pixels. This font is kind of gone too small, maybe 9 ems or whole 1 em. Kind of okay. And one more thing, the name of this thing is or details. That should be displayed as flex as well. Or details, or details, displayed as flex. Yes, and flex direction should be column because it is going from left to right, COLU column. Let's see if that makes some difference or not. That text should have been thrown down. So justify content. How about space between? I mean, I'm doing something extreme that has worked. Yes, the text is thrown to the bottom, or it could be spaced around maybe. Let's see if that makes sense. Space evenly, and things are in the center. If you want something like this, then this is the thing. And now these boxes need border at the bottom and border at the left side. So what is the name of this thing? Whole thing, right box. Yes, it needs border at the bottom, 1 pixel solid, sorry, kind of very light background. Triple E is the best, and it is touching. So what we have to do, we have to give some padding at the bottom around 2% or maybe 1%. It's kind of working. Now we need to give the same thing at the, if I repeat this thing, and instead of border bottom, it should be border at the left side, and it should be padding at the left side. If I see it now, is it making some difference? Kind of. I will increase this padding to the left to 4%. There is some problem that I have to solve. I think this border should be the left border left should be given to the details. How about giving this to the details? Okay, I think that should make sense because they are touching each other, and I do not want this to look like, or I could keep its width some kind of, how about giving it 6%? This is looking fine, and if I go back to original website, I am doing something absolutely wrong, and that is the border should be given to the whole box, and that is right area. Border, I mean, you see things and you do mistakes, and then you solve them. Okay, that is how these things work. And now this needs padding to the left of around 2%. If I come back now on the website where I'm working, yes, this is how I wanted this to be. The padding at the bottom is still very less. How about making it 4%? I mean, web is our on. We can give it the padding as we want. So now this right section is kind of done. How about changing those images? I mean, just one image is not making sense. How about 5, 2, 3? Maybe these images are available with me. Yes, they are, no problem. Okay, now on to the left side, the place we started from, and it is the same thing. There will not be much difference. So we have to go here, and the name of this section is left area. So first of all, this left area dot left area, it needs border on the right side. No, on the right side, not left side. On the right side, it should be 1 pixel solid EEE, and then again it needs padding. Where should the padding be given? To the left or right? To the right side. It should be around 4% or 2%. Let's see. That is huge. I will reduce it to 2. Kind of making some sense. Now those boxes individually should have space, and the name of them is box. I think that is box. Yes, box. So dot box, it needs margin at the bottom so they do not touch each other of around 6%. Let's see if that do something or not. That is too less. How about 12%? I think maybe more, because this is a news website and there should be some space. Kind of okay. Okay, and now we need to give that border to the box, so it should be border in the bottom, 1 pixel. OLED is solid, this color. Yes, we need to give padding at the bottom, padding at the bottom of around 4%. Kind of looking okay. Now this thing you see is kind of done. Now maybe I change the images because they look too monotonous. How about 6 here? Have I got this image? Yes, I have got this image, and so it may be 2 here. Let's see if I have this image. Yes, I have this image. So yes, now this area is done. Maybe I will duplicate it one more time, but this spacing is kind of large. I need to maybe make it 14. Is that okay? I think that is okay. Now we need to duplicate this box one more time, and that will be displayed nicely by itself. We do not have to style that. I think that thing should happen. Now if I add, it is happening automatically. Now we need to create that one more thing at the bottom, and they are not aligned because they are images are different, and they I could adjust the space a bit maybe here, but let's not worry about this. We do not have to keep everything in symmetry. Few things can be different as well. So now still inside the main, away from all those sections, we are going to create one more section, that is section part 2. Okay, now inside this, what we need those boxes, and let's call them, why should I call them, why don't I just copy from here, from the left area. If I copy this thing box and put it over here inside this part 2, I mean there will be some problems, but we can maybe, do not worry, I will take care of this. 2, 3, I will display 4 images in this part 2. So let's style this first so this does not look ugly. Part 2, I hope I have, yes, I have written it like this. So it should be display, it can be flex. If I use CSS grid, let's do that, grid, and grid template columns, repeat. I mean you have to use this. If you do not want to use this, then you have to write a lot of things like 300 pixels, then the next image should be 300 pixels. That doesn't make sense. Repeat how many times? 4 times. And at what scale? At the fraction. I mean divide for these images in 4 areas, these automatically. We do not have to worry about you. That thing is happening here. Let's see if that makes sense or not. If I come back now, and those images are displayed like as we want, and what does they need? They need, this whole thing needs, this part 2 needs border at the top, border at the top of around 1 pixel, solid, same color, EEE. Now it needs margin as well at the top because it should not be touching things at the top. There should be some spacing, or maybe I will increase it. It is, I think 4% should work. Yes, the border is touching. We have to give the padding now. So padding at the top, padding at top, how much? Around 4%. Let's see if that makes sense. Kind of making sense, yes. And maybe margin at the top should not be this much. Around 2% or 1% could make sense. I will further reduce it so it's kind of touching those lines, not much, but to some extent, or maybe I could reduce it further and it will go and touch. And now if we want to remove these borders, I mean how many images are they? 1, 2, 3. So inside this parent container, do the nth element like the 1, 2, 3. So nth element, should I do that also? So inside left area, it Is it inside left area? Let's try that if that work or not. Inside left area, the nth child, that is 3, for bottom should be none. Will that make sense? Yes, I mean, this is so easy. You can try this thing here as well. So nothing is tough going on here. So here we have to give them borders to the right to 3 images, not to the 4th image. So where are these boxes? These boxes are okay. I will do one thing. I will add one more class, that is box 2 instead of, I mean, it's easy to add one more class. The previous style will be retained and you can add more things. I mean, that's the great thing about CSS. I could just part 2 and whatever is a box inside this, that should get its style. So I have given it a class of box 2. What should they have? They should have a border to the right of 1 pixel solid EEE, and there should be padding to the right as well of around 2%. Let's see if that made sense or not. This is not added to all of them. Why? It is added to the whole body. That is not what we want. It should not be like this. This should not be added to the whole body. It should be added to those individual elements. Yes, it is added, but I am not seeing it. Okay, is it added to the first one? I hope so. Okay. The padding to the right should not be this much, maybe around 1%. No, this thing is not quite making sense. I should do one thing. Inside part 2, okay, whatever is an image should have a border to the right of 1 pixel solid. Let's try that. Did that make sense? No, that too is not working, or I am not able to see it. Now, this thing didn't work as well. So I'll style the box 2 again. Border to the right of 1 pixel solid. I will use black here so I can see it clearly. Now this is being added to some but not to all of them. Have I given this class to the first element as well? Box 2, box 2, box 2. No, I have not given this. Box 2. Now this should get as well, but why this border is running away? Border right, this is given to the whole body and that body has a kind of width. That's the reason it's going away. So how about giving it a padding to the right of -4%? No, this thing is not making sense. This thing is not making sense. Why? Because I think I have given to the width to these elements to the box. If I go back to the box, padding bottom, border bottom, margin bottom, border bottom is getting all the styles and it is getting displayed in the border, the bottom. But why this border is not coming here? If I come back to here, what kind of style I have not given the style that I'm kind of talking about. So why should I worry about it? They should have a bar at the bottom only. So this thing, I mean, I could solve that, but I think that will take a lot of time. Border at the bottom, 1 pixel solid EEE, and why they are not spaced out? Have I displayed? How about column gap of around 1% or 2%? Yes, now there is some gap, and I could just change the images here. What is the name of these images? Maybe 4, maybe 3, 5, like this. Now things are making sense. Okay, I could like give them some spacing. I could write some text underneath them. Like if I come down here now, underneath here, if I write p tag and inside this some lorem of around 20, that will throw things like badly, but I can do one thing. To the box 2 I can give, okay, let's first see how it behaved. Kind of, okay, why don't we just copy this thing to the others as well. Maybe I will reduce the font size here. If I reload it now, text is kind of flowing away. How we fix that? With the width, how about 280 pixels? Or I could give this width to just the text itself. That's that p element. Now those images need some margin, so box 2, whatever is an image inside this, that needs margin at the bottom of around 4%. Let's see if that made sense or not. Kind of making it's kind of making sense. Now inside box 2, whatever is the p should have a font size of smaller, maybe 0.8 ems. Things are turning out as you want them to be. So guys, this was not tough, but it needed some tweaks. A lot of flexbox thing and sometimes css, but flexbox will do the magic. So you can like create this kind of clean and amazing like layouts so easily. So hope this was helpful, and I'll be uploading the sources and the link as well, the live link. So yeah, so consider supporting if you are like liking this, and I'll be able to do more of tutorials. And thank you. Have a great day.